Rotarians. My name is Paul Wickle. I have the honor of introducing my longtime friend Cindy Sparback, who is on the American Board of the Friends of St. Jude. Also, Susie Nordiger, who is a Paul Harris Fellow and on the same board with Cindy. Also, another longtime friend, Mary Jackson, who is a local architect of St. Jude and happens to be the daughter of our past president, Charles Hurd. Also at our table is Dr. Sulaiman Muhammad, who is a St. Jude graduate and a physician from Tanzania, and Lillian Boy, who is also a St. Jude graduate and a medical lab technician in Mark Plains, New York. Please welcome these
Welcome to all the Rotary guests. We have a Rotary table where Delaney and Gemma are sitting right now. Very friendly stuff we're going to do later. We have several Rotarians in the spotlight. Congratulations to Alicia Gray and the Kentucky Youth Society. They announced plans to break ground next month on a new $37 million, 54,000 square foot panel and community campus. Great job, Alyssa. Congrats to Ben Reno Weber, who will take center stage at the Vote Awards Demo Day, November 13th at the Kentucky Derby Museum to showcase his company Essential Innovations. He's one of 6 early stage industry disruptors chosen by this year's selection committee, which is chaired by Rotarian Maggie Harper. Several Rotarians were selected to serve on the 2026 Leadership Louisville Center Board, including Board Chair Kim Hallbauer, Chair-elect Brad Smith, and Vice Chair Kristen Bird. Congrats to Janet Patterson on being selected for the Ignite Louisville class of 2026. And to Leslie Smart, who will be the speaker at next Wednesday's Women's Club luncheon. Guests are welcome. If you register by October 20th, the links are on our homepage at louisvillerotary.org. Our Rotary monthly theme for October is economic and community development. You can join me and Kevin Fields and other Rotarians at the 9th annual West Louisville Economic Mobility Summit tomorrow from 10 to 3 at the Louisville Central Community Center. Our club is a partner in this event. The theme is Prosperity Through Peace. Several of our members will be part of the program, including Rick Harnett and Kendrick Porter. World Polio Day next week, October 24th. We'd like to raise $5,000 like we did last October to help end polio forever. Your donation will be doubled by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. A little extra motivation to donate. We'll be having a drawing on October 30th for this 10-year bottle of Russell's Reserve Private Selection. And QR code, or click the link to donate to enter the drawing. Also, next Friday, October 24th, is United Nations Day. And we have teamed up with our district and other Rotary clubs in Kentucky, as well as the United Nations Association, to hold an event Monday, October 27th from 5 to 9 p.m. to raise awareness on human trafficking and sextortion. It is free. You can participate in person or via Zoom. Our new Living Well Through Life series kicks off Saturday morning, November 15th, with yoga for all ages at the Playcourt Indoor Space at Waterfront Park. It's our turn this year to host the annual Joint Rotary Kiwanis Club Thanksgiving celebration. We kick off the Red Kettle campaign, the Battle of the Bells, if you like to call it. It'll be here at University Club Tuesday, November 25th. Our speaker will be Reverend Dr. Andrew Palmerville, president of Louisville Presbyterian Theological Seminary, who will share his thoughts on gratitude. Our social activities committee has organized a Rotary Day at Actor Skater Saturday, December 6th for the matinee showing of the Christmas Carol. And our Rotary annual meeting and holiday party will be Wednesday, December 3rd at First Sport Country Club. Always busy with our club. Scroll through the Sparks newsletter, the link sent out last night. More details, links are there on our website, louisvillerotary.org. Save the dates to your account. please follow us online on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and YouTube. If you joined our club or rejoined the last year or so, please stand. We'd like to recognize new members. Introduce yourself to one of those, or several of those who stood, learn a little bit more about them, and share your Rotary engagement experiences with them. We also have another new member to induct today. I'd like to invite Adam Mather to join me. Adam, come on up. You've been selected to membership in our club because we believe you possess qualities that will lead you to exemplify the true spirit of Rotary and our four-way test. Our club is the 12th largest in the world, 10th largest in the United States. There's 45,000 clubs. You're welcome to join any of them. Rotary membership is enhanced by engagement. So you will engage. Tell us a little about yourself.
I'm a native of Atlanta, Georgia, but predominantly live here in Louisville. I have a bachelor's degree from Georgia State University in nursing and a master's from Cornell University in health administration. My career has primarily been in long-term care where I've operated individual facilities up to overseeing a portfolio of facilities as a vice president of operations. I've served on several professional and community boards, including the KHCF board. My last role, I served as Inspector General for the Cabinet of Health and Family Services during the first Bashir administration. Currently, I'm serving as the president of the Kentucky Coalition for Aging Resources and Empowerment, formerly known as KHCF. I am married to my wife, Martha, for almost 20 years. We have 3 lovely children, Jada, Lewis, and Abigail, 2 of which are 16 and about to get their licenses on Monday. I'm looking forward to participating in the service work at the Rotary Club and promoting what the Rotary Club has to offer as being an active member of the community. And if anybody's ever looking for a 4th member for a pickleball game, let me know. I'm happy to assist. Thank you all. I'm very excited.
Thanks to Kevin Lynch and Chris Lewis for navigating him to the club. We also like to honor longer-term Rotarians at our meeting. We'd like to invite Mitch Rue, Vice Chair of our Rotary Honors Scholar Committee, Paul Harris Fellow +2, and the 2012-2013 Rotarian of the Year.
As Ken stated, I'm a 15-year Rotarian. Been here. I'm a local native. Was a Brown Foreman guy in sales and marketing. Cavalcaded around the country, California, South Carolina, Connecticut, Georgia. Met my wife in South Carolina. Moved to Atlanta. Both our boys were born there. My oldest is just graduated from Wake Forest and is up in New York City. Youngest is at Furman University. My wife is a reading instructor. I had a technology business in 2008, sold it. I've been in the M&A space ever since. We represent franchise restaurant sellers and help them manage through the close. I joined Rotary about 15 years ago, quickly joined the DePaul School Auction Committee, and then was inspired by Henry Heiser as he formed the Full Rotary Promise Scholarship. I was instrumental in helping to raise $1 million, much of which was the generosity of our club. That sits in the endowed scholarship at KCTCS, now covering the Evolve 502 portion of Uruguay Western High School, and we've got more to come soon. Rotary is a wonderful place with a lot of servant hearts that enjoy unifying together to do great things in our community and beyond. I would encourage you all to get involved and follow your passion.
Really a special member of our club, also a tremendous board member of the Jefferson County Public Education Foundation. All right. I'd like to invite Jack to the mic. Paul Bickle, President at U.S. Specialties. Paul Harris Fellow, +5. Introduce Paul.
Thank you, President Gemma. Fellow Rotarians, it is an honor to introduce Gemma Sisia to you. Gemma founded the School of St. Jude in Arusha, Tanzania, over 23 years ago. She grew up the daughter of a farmer in a large family in Australia. Professionally, Gemma is a high school science and math teacher. You're going to hear about the amazing School of St. Jude from Gemma, but you should know that Rotary is largely responsible for the school's existence. Gemma's father was a Rotarian and introduced her to clubs in Australia who provided early and ongoing support. To date, 325 Rotary clubs from around the world have provided support to the School of St. Jude. When you enter the school grounds, you are greeted by a Rotary wheel, and on the School of St. Jude campus, they host the Rotaract Club, an Interact Club, and an Early Act Club for kids aged 5 to 13. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Gemma Sisia.
Hello everybody, I'm very excited to tell you all about the School of St. Jude because like Paul said, Rotary has been behind me since the first day. So where are we? We are in Tanzania, which is in East Africa. Most people of course know our part of the world for safari, so we literally get hundreds of thousands of tourists going through our town, all wanting to go and see the wildlife. Those people with a bit of energy like to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the highest mountain in Africa. And in fact, one of our secondary schools is only about 20 minutes drive from the Mount Kilimanjaro International Airport. So there's no excuses for you not coming to visit. However, behind all the nice tourist hotels is the reality many people in our part of the world are very, very poor, so that's why you'll also find the schools of St. Jude. So how did it start and where did it all begin? So as Paul said, I grew up on a farm, a sheep and cattle station in Australia with 7 wonderful but very crazy brothers. I think that taught me a lot of survival skills pretty much from birth. But after finishing university, I worked in East Africa. This was 30 years ago. So I went to East Africa to work as a teacher for a few years. And it was there that I had this dream of opening a good quality private school, but a private school that didn't charge school fees, as you do when you're under 25. Anyway, so I went back to Australia, told all my brothers and mum and dad they're going to build a free private school in Africa, and you can imagine how that went down. But one of my friends that I grew up with in my hometown gave me my first donation, which was $10. So I took the $10 that Agnes gave me to the local bank and opened a bank account. And then Dear Dad introduced me to our local Rotary Club, and so I made them a presentation. Thank God they never asked me for a business plan or a feasibility study, but instead they said they'd help me. So, using the usual Rotary network, now at that time I didn't know much about Rotary, I just knew that they did the barbecue at our show every year. But I had no idea of the extent that Rotary do all over the world. But when you've only got $10, you're willing to try anything. And so thanks to my local Rotary Club, and using the usual Rotary way, they brought in all the Rotary clubs from the surrounding towns. And so together we raised enough money to build the first classroom block on this piece of land. My local Rotary Club then organised, it's called a ROGS team. A ROGS team is a Rotary organised team that builds hospitals and classrooms around the world. So this is actually a Rotary Club from my hometown on a ROGS expedition to build me my first classrooms. And I remember thinking, wow, this free Rotary labour is actually working. So then we raised some more money, we built a second building with another Rotary Club, and then another Rotary Club near Sydney built us our first playground. And actually, if you come and visit the school, we have a map for Rotarians so that they can see all the bits and pieces that have been built by various Rotary clubs and matching grants over the years. But finally, the school was ready for opening in 2002. We had a huge number of students, 3 kids. So when we started the school, I idealistically thought that it would be really easy to find sponsors for children's scholarships. So 100% of our students are on full scholarships, and that's because I find people to pay for those scholarships. But when I started the school, the only people I could convince to sponsor a scholarship with one of my kids was obviously family and friends who couldn't get out of saying no. So that's why we could only start with 3 kids. But we didn't give up. Since then, we've been fundraising. You'll be very proud to know that pretty much 100% of the money comes to Tanzania, because we've got great board members who are sitting in front of me, who do a huge amount of work here in America, so that all that money comes to Tanzania, so that we can use all of that money to build more classrooms, more boarding houses, employ more staff, and ultimately enrol more students. So the School of St. Jude today, we're very proud that we have 1,800 students, all on full scholarships. So whilst we started the school with 3 kids, we're very proud that we now have 3 schools. So this is our primary school, which is the original school. This is a day school for girls and boys. Each of our schools have their own registration certificate, their own headmaster, their own school board. This girls' secondary school has its own headmaster, and it has capacity for around 500 boarders. Our secondary schools are 100% boarding. These are the boarding houses where all those 500 girls sleep. Then this is the other secondary school. That's the one close to Kilimanjaro Airport. This has capacity for about 1,000 boarders on this campus here. A lot of people ask me, how do you get a scholarship at St. Jude's? We are a private school. Our students do very well on the national exams, and our students also perform really well in the extracurricular. So we literally get thousands of children trying out for scholarships. You can either get a scholarship for primary or a scholarship for secondary. Next month, for example, we are looking for 240 students to enrol in January into our secondaries, in our secondary schools, but we are expecting upwards of 6,000 students to apply. Now, I'm going to go through my primary enrolment procedure, but it's the same as we do for secondary. So basically, to get a scholarship at St. Jude's, first of all, you have to be attending a public school. If you are currently attending a private school, you're not eligible for a scholarship. Because all of our students are coming from public schools, and because all of our scholarships are academic scholarships, we have scholarship exams. And these exams are in the language of Swahili. But once the student gets a scholarship, they then start at St. Jude's learning English, because if you've got English, you just quadrupled your pay packet. But their exams initially to get into the school is in Swahili. If they pass their entrance exams, we then go to their homes to do poverty checks. And these are the types of families who would pass our poverty test. Once they've passed the poverty test, we give them a uniform, formally enrol them, send them out to their parents, who are obviously very excited about their child getting a scholarship, and then we jump on a plane, come out to America and try and get them all sponsored. That's pretty much what we do each year. I have a little video here that summarises the process I just explained to you. So that's how we enroll students, but we're also proud that finally we are starting to graduate them at the other end. Who can remember how many kids we started the school with? 3. Yep. So those 3 kids, that year group, finally reached the end of high school back in 2015. Thankfully, there were more than 3 of them. By the time they got to high school, there was about 60 of them. And this is a picture of our inaugural high school graduation. And I still remember that because it was wonderful that a number of the Rotarians who helped me to build that very first classroom came out for the celebration. Since then, we've pretty much tripled the output. For example, this year we've got 166. Last year I think we had 220. So we really hover between 150 and 200 each year coming out of high school. After students finish their high school at St. Jude's, they can, if they want, participate in a gap year. It's a community service year where they give thanks for the free education that they've received and use the skills that they were lucky enough to attain, thanks to their scholarship, to benefit their community. So they have to do their community service year in the theme of education. So if you want to be a doctor, for example, you're not allowed to go and work in a hospital for a year. You go and work in a government school and teach physics and chemistry for a year. So at St. Jude's, our high school graduates can either work at St. Jude's, you know, the visitor department or the marketing or the boarding or the garage, or what most of them choose to do is to work in a public school, secondary school as teachers. So when I tell you that our high school graduates are working as government school or public school teachers, that's exactly what I mean. They're not tutors, they're not assistant teaching. They have their own classes, their own timetables. Some of them are even heads of departments. So basically what happens is they do their senior national exams at the end of high school. They then go home and sleep for a few weeks before coming in for a crash 2-week teaching course where we teach them how to write a lesson plan, fill out a logbook, and then we give them some ideas around crowd control before we give them some boxes of chalk and some textbooks and kick them out to a government school for a year. I have a little video here that profiles a couple of our high school graduates who chose to do their community service year as public school secondary teachers.
Oh, my name is Johnson. I'm a volunteer at Mringa Secondary School. Come join me in my classroom. Simple machine is any device that simplifies work. Examples of simple machine.
Background is at the middle, then the effort is here at the end where we put our hands.
Excellent. During my time here, I have learned so much. I feel more confident, and I have even received a scholarship to Ashes University in Ghana, where I plan to study bachelor degree in business administration.
This program is so amazing and tremendous. After all, I've managed to gain a lot of skills, including communication skills, leadership skills, of which I was the head of the department of computer subjects at the secondary school.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Kalista Philip. I am the second administrator at the Gemma Secondary School.
My name is Zakaria, academic master, Mringa Secondary School.
For the first time, to get a student from St. Jude to teach our students, I was very shocked.
I was really worried. But at the end, I realized that those students from St. Jude, they were capable teaching students than even those student teachers from other colleges.
I was surprised to see their work and their outcome. Not only academic performance, but also the extracurricular. We are grateful for those who are supporting the program. It's very productive to us. Thank you so much.
So to give you some statistics, the high school students who just graduated, our most recent graduates, are currently teaching between them over 18,000 students in public schools across 90 public schools or government schools that we call in Tanzania. After our students finish the community service year, it's then off to university. So St. Jude's also has a tertiary program where we are currently supporting around 500 students in 14 different countries at 46 different universities. I hope you remember when I got my first high school graduates back in 2015. Those students started to finally come out of university around 2019, 2020. They were the 3-year courses like marketing, IT, education. Since then, a further 500 students have graduated from university. About 97% of our graduating high school class move on to university. Actually, one of these graduates is here today. So one of the actual original graduates back here, one of my inaugural high school graduates is here, Dr. Sule. So I'd like to introduce you everybody, Solomon.
Thank you, Gemma, and thank you everyone for having us. My name is Dr. Sule, and I'm very excited to share my story with you this afternoon. So before joining the school of St. Jude, I went to a typical public primary school. I went in a very crowded classroom with 100 other kids, and it was very difficult learning conditions. So my trick was to really come early in the class, and then grab one of the front desks here and try and concentrate and grab the attention of the teacher so I could get whatever that was being taught. I was 14 years old when I joined School of St. Jude, and unfortunately by that time I had lost both my parents. But also, I was also very lucky to have my aunt pictured here in the red sweater, who took the whole responsibility of taking care of me alongside her other children. Originally, I come from a big family of 6. I have 4 other brothers and a sister. The last 3 siblings were very fortunate to get an education, but the older 3 were not. But then my life changed when I got the opportunity to come and compete for the scholarship at the School of St. Jude. And as I had to sit academic exams at the school, and then after that I had to pass the home visit, which is a poverty assessment test. I was very lucky to be among the first few students who got to join the School of St. Jude for secondary school. I still remember how stiff this pair of new school uniform felt. This is my first tie, and I still have with me. But then that was not the only surprise. At the School of St. Jude, I got to have my own desk and chair. I had never seen many books, textbooks and library books in my life. And walking into that science lab for the first time, having my little white coat and having to do hands-on activities and dissection is a memory I still keep. And I still think that formed the basis of who I am as a doctor today. And by the way, these 2 girls here are also fully practicing doctors back in Tanzania. So fast forward 6 years in the School of St. Jude, I was very honored to be graduating as part of the inaugural graduating class of the School of St. Jude, and this is a picture of me in 2015. Thanks to my free education, which was a very life-changing education, I could dream more. I think the dream of me becoming a doctor was more possible with the School of St. Jude. I gladly took the opportunity to do a community service here at the School of St. Jude, and for that I did in the visitors department. As Gemma mentioned, we have a big visitors program going on in the School of St. Jude. We host sponsors and donors, or even just people who happen to be having 2 hours in Arusha and wants to see something different. So I used to work in that department, which takes care of the visitors. We were very busy that year. We hosted 1,000 visitors, barely slept. After my community service year, I was accepted into the top medical school back in Tanzania, 12 hours away from where the school is located. And fast forward, after 5 years of medicine, 5 challenging years of medicine, I got to graduate top 1% in my class as a general practitioner. And thank you. So, unfortunately, my aunt who used to take care of me through high school was not able to make it to the graduation. But also, I was very lucky to have another aunt who lives in the city who made it to the graduation on her behalf. So what do I do now? I currently work in the biggest teaching hospital, the same hospital I did my med school in, as a general practitioner in the emergency department. And even better, I work in the pediatric unit of the emergency department. And just before I came into this trip, I got really big news that I was accepted into a residency program. So I'm going to go straight in and start my master's degree in emergency medicine. So everyone, you will agree with me that my story is such an incredible story. Lillian's story is also a very incredible story, but there is a lot of wonderful stories of the alumni of the School of Jude. Together we will prove that little support that comes to the School of Jude goes a long way and changes many lives. However, I have a little favor to ask you. There is 150 other kids who needs to get sponsors. So if you're interested, please consider supporting one of these students. Also, I would like to call Lily to share a bit of her story because she also went to the School of St. Jude.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having us today. My name is Lillian Mitiboy. I'm at the School of St. Jude graduate of 2017. I was only there for the last 2 years of high school. And after graduating high school, I participated in the community service year where I taught physics and chemistry at the junior high school that I went to for about 4 years. And during that gap year, I managed to, I was lucky enough to acquire a scholarship through the Mastercard Foundation scholarship program of the African Leadership Academy in South Africa. And that scholarship awarded me a position as a student at Marist University in Poughkeepsie, where I studied medical technology, and I currently work as a clinical laboratory technician at White Plains Hospital Laboratory in Westchester County, New York. And I am very lucky that because of my position at the moment, I'm able to support my family, not just financially, but also academically. My 2 younger siblings are currently, one of them is in high school, a private high school that I'm fully paying for, and the other one is in college studying accountancy. And also, apart from the education aspect, I managed to build a house for my mother that is currently sort of halfway through furnishing, and I'm very, very proud of that part for myself. And like Sue said, it's our story is just two of so many. A lot of alumni who go through the School of St. Jude's are equipped with such a high level of education and a lot of resources that when we get out there, we really work hard because we are trained, we're taught, we get such support, not just through the community service year, but even after we graduate, we have an alumni portal that helps the new graduate get jobs, be connected with investors, and so on and so forth. So it's the support of people like you in this room that makes every single one of these stories possible, because we wouldn't be able to do any of it without your very generous support. So thank you so very much for hosting us today, and have a nice day.
Just before I leave the stage, I would like to remind you that there's one of these in your table and you can find more information about the School of St. Jude. I would like now to call Kenny to join me on stage. I have a little gift for you. Please, Kenny.
The school that helped build. And I have one for you as well. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? I'll come to you and you can ask, and then I'll come back to them and they can answer. Yes. Board Member Steve Jester.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for being here. And could you say some more about how you developed, or how this vision came about? You kind of passed over that pretty quickly, but you know, that this is a big deal and a big change from where you were. So how did that happen?
I think the school has just grown over the years by solving problems. A problem comes up, and I think I was very blessed having the childhood that I had, watching Dad trying to solve everything, trying to survive on the land back in Australia is very tough, so you have to be a jack of all trades, and you have to have a lot of determination and grit to survive. And I think our philosophy is, I've got a very good team of staff at the school, and we live in a third world country, so curveballs are coming every day. But once I got my team in the office, there's nothing they can't solve when they put their heads together. And the rule is we try a solution. If it doesn't work, we pivot, try another solution, keep pivoting until something works. And then once it works, somebody has to process write it. And everyone hates doing that job. But then, hopefully the next time we come across it. But it's just really solving problems on a daily basis. So I think we rival McDonald's for procedures.
Other questions?
I want to know where the name St. Jude came from.
Good question, of course. Does anyone know who St. Jude is?
Lost cause.
Exactly. So patron saint of the hopeless or lost causes. And so trying to start a school with $10, having never built anything in my life except for a guinea pig's cage when I was in middle school, is pretty hopeless. And so that's why I called the school after the saint of the hopeless.
All right.
Thank you. You have a very inspiring story. I'm curious about the curriculum that you have in your schools, whether you emphasize science, math, or are you interested also in humanities, history, and so forth?
So we really try and have a holistic education. So when we enrol students, so we enrolled Sule, for example, at the beginning of secondary school, but we enrolled 240 students at the beginning of secondary school. We have no idea if Sule is going to study business or humanities or languages or sciences. So we offer all of those combinations. But then for the final 2 years of high school, we only offer scholarships to students where there's subjects with availability. So for example, maybe the physics class has 3 seats, or the maths class has 3 seats. Then we'll bring a student in with that combination. And that's how Lily got a scholarship at the final 2 years, because she filled an empty seat. So that's how we do our enrolment. So we offer all academic subjects, and then we also have a big art program. I think you saw some art from our students. We have a big sports program. Typing, ESL, there's 40 extracurricular clubs. A few weeks ago, we hosted the East African Public Speaking Debating Competition, where we had about 500 students from Uganda, Rwanda, at the school. So a holistic education, because that's what the country needs.
I should just comment that the School of St. Jude loves visitors, and there's no better place than Tanzania to learn about African wildlife and African culture. And I recommend a visit if you are considering traveling to Africa. And my question is, Gemma, would you comment a little bit about your one child from family policy and what that can mean to a family when a student comes to St. Jude's?
So we have a huge, when I said to you we're expecting upwards of 6,000 kids to come next month for 240 scholarships available. So we have a one child per family rule because we want to share or spread around the love. And so I want you to answer this because you received a scholarship but your other 5 siblings didn't, but how did that one scholarship help your family?
So it was really a big news for me to go into the School of St. Jude because at the School of St. Jude you are exposed to have a lot of resources. And you're very lucky, you're this lucky child, but there is other maybe 5 or 6 who did not get the opportunity to come to the School of St. Jude. So for example, I joined the school first year of secondary school, but my 2 other brothers were also in secondary school. So I was able to borrow books, textbooks from the library, and library books from the library, and take home for my brothers and sisters who are in public school to use them for their exam preparation. So I'm very proud to say that through that, my 2 brothers also have a bachelor degree in education. So that's how the one-child per family policy is impacting the rest of the family. So imagine I am one family. So if we can have more other families benefiting from the School of St. Jude's scholarship the same way that I benefited my two other brothers. Yeah.
So just to clarify, his eldest three brothers didn't finish secondary school, but the youngest all went to university, the youngest three. We would have to build another 3 or 4 schools just in our district before we could even consider going to 2 children per family.
I'm curious how Louisville hero Paul Bickle got connected with the school in Tanzania.
Well, I should thank my friend Cindy Scarbeck over here. Cindy's been involved with the School of St. Jude for many, many years, and it's a long and wonderful story. But you've been to Tanzania how many times, and would you like to comment a little bit about that?
Well, I first visited the School of St. Jude in 2005, and have been going back at least once a year, if not more often, since then. So I just got hooked on the school, and of course I come back and tell everybody that I know about it. And I've pulled Louisville Collegiate School in as well for some teacher professional development with the School of St. Jude. So it's just been, it's very fun. It's hard not to talk about. It's such an exciting place.
Thank you, Gemma. This is just fascinating. Could you take us through what a normal school day looks like, and then for the kids that board, what do you do on weekends, and and how all that kind of figures out? Thank you.
So we use a national curriculum, which is the Tanzanian curriculum, and normally the school day finishes at 3:30, but we use like a national plus curriculum. So we have extra subjects like typing, music, art, sport, computers, ESL, so the students can learn better English using Let's Learn English. I don't know if anyone knows Let's Learn English and Rosetta Stone. They're the softwares we use for helping them to improve. We also have 40 extracurricular clubs, so our school day actually goes to 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, all the staff go home, all the day students, which is the primary students, they all go home on the 5 o'clock buses, and the boarders head across to boarding. We don't employ anyone to clean the boarding houses or do the laundry or anything like that, so the students have to do all their own cleaning. They also do all the cleaning around the schoolyard. All the gardens and everything are done by the students, so each class has a different area of the school that they have to look after. So after school, they are either doing their own washing or they're looking after their area. And then they go and have some dinner, or they might be playing sport or one of the clubs that they're in. And then on the weekends, English is very important in Tanzania because, as I said, if you've got English, you've just quadrupled your pay packet. So our students are learning on Rosetta Stone. It's a software. And so they put so much pressure on us to open the ESL labs over the weekends and in the evenings. So we now, the staff need to rest. And so we have ESL student leaders who will walk students at night and during Saturday and Sunday to go and do extra practice in the ESL labs. They also play, all the different types of sports and everything as well.
First off, what you show there is beautiful. I came from a place exactly like that. Okay, I just more fortunate to come to America, so it's a different ballgame here. But I'm a computer engineer. I spent my 30 years in America to learn IT and building systems to solve the education problem in my area, which I hope to bring AI back to them. So my question to you, which I watch my area in Vietnam, this way is that they have fast internet now, at least in my area in Vietnam. Do you guys have that there now and is affordable or not? And the second question is, what is your strategy in terms of applying AI to level the playing field in education scaling?
So the first thing about IT, even though our children are from a third world country, we want them to be as competitive as possible on the job market. And so one of the extra subjects we have is ICT. So we have computer labs for ICT and then computer labs for ESL. We actually have 1,500 laptops in labs across our schools. Our core IT department, I don't know how they do it because the generator goes on 10 times a day. If you put your toaster on, all the lights go down, but somehow they are able to keep us moving. And our budget that we need to raise is about $8 million, so I have a lot of fundraising staff as well, which are all Tanzanian, which is great. And so AI has helped us a lot improve our languages because all my staff who are communicating, for example, are all Tanzanians, but they now have really good English thanks to AI. And we're actually having lots of meetings at the moment helping our students to use AI, but it's such unexplored territory. Just last week, actually just in the last few weeks, our IT department have just processed over 500 laptops because our Form 5, which is the senior 2 years of high school, every Form 5 student gets their own personal device. And every Form 6 student gets their own personal device, and all the students who go on to university get their personal devices. And IT have just been doing that at the moment in the last few weeks. It's very, very important. And then what was the other question? Sorry. Oh, the internet. So never enough. No, it's not fast. It's not fast. And every time it gets a little bit faster, we then get more laptops. We are, the supplier in town has said we are their biggest user in Tanzania. Yeah, St. Jude's. So if you know of anything, we'll do anything to get more data.
This is Vinay, and I commend you on this very impactful program that you came up with, and it's really touching to listen to all the stories. And I just want to let you know that I was in Tanzania just 2 months ago, in Arusha, Moshi, and climbed Kilimanjaro, and then visited 4 national parks. Beautiful country, very friendly people, enjoyed the trip perfectly. 15 days I think we were in Tanzania, loved it every second. And went to a school, visited a school there. Students were very welcoming. And when we asked them to, sing their national anthem, it was one of those touchy moments for them, that visitors coming and asking them to sing the national anthem. They sang for us, it really touched us, and we were a group of 15 of us who went. So we did donate a little bit to the school. But my question to you is, how do you attract faculty, your teaching students? And I have the information to donate, and definitely going to consider that. But could you please talk about the faculty?
So how do we get faculty? It's difficult to get faculty, but the reality is when I first started the school, all my faculty were mainly expats. But one of our strategic goals over the years has been localised. So I'm now very proud that 99% of our staff are Tanzanian. So all of the staff in all of our schools are now completely Tanzanian, right up to the headmaster. How do we get a start? How do we get faculty? Let's say there's a maths position. We'll advertise that through local media on our website, and then within a week or so, there's 500 applications. Our HR will work with the head of maths and the academic deputy of that school to maybe go down to maybe 60 of those applicants. Those 60 staff, or those 60 applicants, have to come in and do a maths test. So back in 2019, St. Jude's, because we're a little bit of a STEM school, back in 2019, St. Jude's got #1 in the entire country for advanced maths. And so I think we've got the best head of maths in the entire country. So if you can pass one of his tests, then our headmasters will allow you to teach maths. So all of the maths applicants have to do a maths test. So those 60 staff, they'll make it down to maybe 10 that have passed it okay. Those 10 staff will then come into a panel interview, and maybe the panel will select 3 of those maths teachers. They then come in and teach for a couple of days, and then they will pick one, and then that person is on a 6-month probationary contract, then a 1 year, then a 2 year, but if their KPIs are really, really good, then they might even go on to a 3-year contract. So very good stuff. And might I just add, the only reason why we can even recruit staff, so we have 337 Tanzanians on our payroll. The only reason why I can recruit is because Rotary had my back from day one. I'm getting emotional, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not pregnant. But I love Rotary. So also still at the same, we have a big visitor. We have a big visitor department. Rotarians stay for free and have always stayed for free in our accommodation. Anyway, sorry.
Thank you, Gemma. Great.
And I'll always be paying Rotary back in some way. So just to let you know that we have a Rotary club in our school, we have an Interact club, and we have East Africa's only Early Act club, which is in primary school. So we have like a little president in primary school in the Early Act club. I don't know if you know that Early Act is even a Rotary thing, but it is. It's a primary Rotary club. So I'm trying to breed some Rotarians for the future.
We appreciate it. Congratulations on climbing that job. It's pretty impressive. Right after our meeting, Luke's Community Impact Council meeting, Tuesday, Rotary Honor Scholars at Western High School at 8:30. Larry Recenter Ministries meal is next Wednesday night, if you want to participate in that. Barbara is not here today, she has a commitment, so I'll just tell you next week, fellow Rotarian Lisa DiJaco Crutcher, she is the Chief Executive Officer of Catholic Charities, very important topic, the challenging times of immigration. You won't want to miss it, sign up, QR code, the following week, Louisville baseball coach Dan McDonald, who's terrific. Please keep that in mind, that's October 30th. And then November 6th, we're going to be at Kick in partnership with Canopy. So Craig is going to tell all the visiting potential Rotarian guests of ours today what Rotary is all about. You heard a little bit today. He'll fill you in, he's been with the club for a century. Half a century. No one aged. All right. Thanks for bearing with us with Mike. And we are adjourned. Have a great weekend. May your teams win tomorrow and Saturday.